But that closes out Europe for today, but now it's time to move on to North America, where things are very spicy over here as well in North America, just with how the standings look overall between these teams and how close it is at the top. Anyone could still come #1 right now.
And eUnited certainly have a chance to potentially put a halt to Luminosity's dreams for the Masters LAN, because should eUnited find the set win or even a split, would definitely threaten Luminosity's standing.
And that's where we're going to next, LG versus eUnited. Luminosity have been on pretty good tear just lately with the addition of Baskin to the squad. They seem to be sorting things out. Let's go to the standings just so you can get a glimpse here of how LG are looking compared to the rest of the pack. They are sat in second position, 3 points behind eager, so they need to find a 2-0 here to even things up with eager today. eUnited, though, 10 points, but less games played.
And with that in their favor, eUnited are definitely going to be looking to try and pick up at least a split off of Luminosity, which, considering their recent roster changes and everything, I mean, I think they definitely have the potential to do so.
I mean, we looked at them last week when we saw the first time eUnited came together as a squad with Benji now joining them back up. They look very, very dangerous.
And Benji has certainly made a pretty significant impact as well for that roster. I think that he was that aggressive catalyst that eUnited really need to get going with things.
Well, if you've not found out about it yet, thecaster.tv, head over there to apply now for a reality show that hi-rez Studios is doing, where you can get involved and try to be a caster. $10,000 for coming first. Taco, that's like 7 years wage to you, right?
I mean, I'm 100% down to try out if you guys will let me.
I don't think you get
I
enough.
love minute-long videos. Just short, sweet, to the point.
Okay, we'll put you on the karaoke set and see if you can do it there again, yeah?
Well, that means that we have to go to the desk, and I think I've become a little bit too familiar with this.
She's too attached to the desk. But on top of that as well, we've not just got the caster, we've also got Spring Fling that we just announced today. Yes, there is some of the guests you will see coming next Thursday, a week today, March 30th, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. EDT. And we've got some fancy faces there, Taco, and some nice arms too.
We also have competitive online, and that's probably my favorite part, is not only do we have community figures and some pros, but you can't leave out the competitive online.
You cannot leave out the 2032. Without him, the world will not be complete. We'll see what Spiff can do with that lovely hat of his. But it's time now to get on with North America. LG versus eUnited. Two of my favorite casters of all time are standing by, F-Dot and Anatoly.
Thanks a lot, Graham. Very excited to come into this matchup. One of the biggest things I want to go on before we hit into this match is I absolutely love the fact that you have all those headshots and then just Chapo's big-ass bicep.
I mean, honestly, he's been making them gains. Show him off. He actually submitted this to us, and you're like, you know what, Chapo? Fine. We'll use your bicep as your
That's
photo.
the thing. We asked everybody, you know, send us a picture of your face. Wolfie went for a nice festive one. Spiff always does Spiff. And then Chapo just sent us a bunch of Snapchats that we couldn't actually air. So the bicep is what we have to go with. Luminosity versus eUnited. BaRRaCCuDDa and Zeus banned out by LG. Kepri and Medusa will be banned out by the guys on eUnited. And the first pick, Hun Batz, something that I've become a little bit more okay with as time has gone on. But Hun Batz is going to be answered by the Morrigan, and I think that's going to become a staple.
Absolutely. You have a huge jungle fight ultimate on the side of Hun Batz. Morrigan can replicate that for one team fight, and that's all that's going to matter here. Being paired up with Poseidon, though, so that's more than likely going to be either Morrigan, jungle, or soul lane. It's been played on both sides, but having more success in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, Morrigan has a number of tools available to her. She's got a nice close-range stun, which allows her to really be that flexible type character. But Hun Batz was once a character that I think had to be a response pick, right? You see the team has some certain sort of situation going on, and Hun Batz ultimate into that just sort of messes up their plans. These days, I think with some itemization, Hun Batz becomes a carry in and of himself, and Morrigan is going to answer that more often than not, because when you can fear no evil, so can we, and that becomes problematic. Batz, Thoth, Sylvanus versus Morrigan, Poseidon, and Hou Yi. Let's pretend this is the end of the draft, Toly. Which team wins?
I think that, it's too hard to tell. I got to give it to Luminosity with just those 3 picks, honestly, because Sylvanus having a little bit more control in these team fights. But then Morrigan can replicate that, right? So where do you go? Do you go with the Hun Batz? Do you go with the Sylvanus? But either way, eUnited taking away the Bacchus here for themselves. Going to have a lot of burst potential between this Poseidon-Bacchus combination.
I like what Luminosity did here as they lock in Skadi for BaRRaCCuDDa. Amaterasu ban the Odin ban. So the Odin ban is a flex character. That can go jungle or solo, just like the Morrigan. But Amaterasu, this is one of Benji's absolute go-to selections. This is arguably his best character. So by banning out the Amaterasu, you almost sort of relegate Morrigan. You know she's going to go to the solo lane because you take away some of Benji's other options. And this last pick, I really think this is going to be a jungle selection, allowing Morrigan to go in the way of Benji. And I think that comes with Nemesis. There you go. I think that's because of the ban onto Amaterasu. Really got to give up the intelligence coming out from Luminosity and their coach, Quintosh.
And Nemesis is one of these guys that you want to be able to pair up with the Bacchus and with the Poseidon. It's going to be a lot of burst damage potential, mitigating some of the protections, the movement speed. It's going to be a lot easier to find these confirmed Kraken, so it's going to be very important for Luminosity to make sure they're going to have some answers to respond back to that. As long as JeffHindla is in position to find the sustain, find the counter engage with his ultimate knocking people up, then Luminosity can kind of deal with that 3-on-3 scenario.
Exactly, and this is your standard Nemesis compilation. That's the wrong word. Composition. You're definitely going to see a little bit more of Nemesis as she gets some love. So right now, we're not quite there yet, but we just looked at the patch notes yesterday, and Nemesis is going to be able to do things in between her dash. So you'll be able to dash in, shield up, basic attack, and dash back out, even throw down the slice and dice in that, if you're fast enough in that time period. And that's really going to be one of the biggest changes to Nemesis, and it'll show her a lot of love. And there's a lot of players in the league, Virizial included, that really like this character.
Absolutely. Weekend definitely comes to mind when you think of Nemesis, especially some soul laners could potentially look for them.
Yeah.
With Cyclone Spin playing assassins in that solo lane. SkariD, though, he's lingering behind. Mask is doing some damage. Khaos is in trouble.
Oh, Khaos is in a lot of trouble, Totally. In fact, Khaos is dead. Mask on. First blood for Luminosity. Wonderful play. And peep that. Look at the neat little play coming out of SkariD. SkariD makes the flank in the middle lane to get first blood, teleports over to the solo lane right away. We discussed this strategy last season, and it's really cool to see it happening right now.
Whenever you have your soul laner in the mid lane instead, you have to be asking yourself, a bunch of question marks should be coming up like, what is going on here? There should be no reason why the soul laner is here. He needs to be in his own short lane to make sure that he gets the farm. Maybe he's going to be opting to rotate instead for like a blue buff later on, but either way, great tactics, and not recognizing this as eUnited.
And again, you know, this is going to be the second time I've mentioned him perhaps all year as Benji gets into trouble. The coach, Quintosh on LG, has stayed behind the scenes for a long time, and to be honest, I think he likes that. But at the end of the day, Luminosity has made a very large stride forward here of late, being the leaders. For a long time, BaRRaCCuDDa and Jeff and this LG team has sort of just followed the meta and just been better than the other teams at the meta. Very rare do you see them become these innovators. That's usually left to, well, eUnited and Eager and teams like that. And it's really cool to see Luminosity bring out this next page.
Absolutely. Benji in a lot of trouble, though. He is going to go down. Mark of the Vanguard not saving his life that time around. Mask with his second kill of the game. He's been all over the place, finding the place. And like you mentioned before, Luminosity now being a little bit more innovative with their strategies. They were a team that used to be, we're just going to outplay you no matter what you do. And if you ever like invaded against BaRRaCCuDDa in the jungle, which I have, you could see how salty he gets. But that was the past BaRRaCCuDDa back in Season 2 and Season 3. Now he's expecting a lot of these plays to happen to him, so he's going to fight fire with fire.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, to bring up your own analogy, he's gotten more fiery as a player, definitely a little bit more aggressive, and we saw that, you know, towards the end of last season even. BaRRaCCuDDa just continuing this change now with the rest of the team, bringing some more tactics. And Mask one more time. Benji, you're not going to get left alone. 3 kills for Luminosity, 3 kills for Mask, 3 kills for the Party Monkey. What a start for LG.
The positioning of the soul lane is just not there for eUnited. Not having the purification means that it's basically the number one target out of Mask once he gets that Fear No Evil. Still sitting level 4 is Benji, and with a 3rd kill for Mask and a 3rd assist for SkariD, this jungle solo combination has been looking so strong ever since Super Regionals.
That was going to be my next statement, was Luminosity has changed into becoming a more innovative team. BaRRaCCuDDa has already done his changing as far as, you know, becoming a more active role hunter. Mask, I think, is another player that has just also transformed. There was, you know, once upon a time, Mask was in a very different spot than he is now. Then he became a respectable SPL player, and even still was, you know, kind of on the lower end of things. But these days, I mean, Have you guys been watching the past 4 minutes? This is out of control.
Mask was definitely the best free agent in the beginning of Season 3, jumping between many teams, trying to find the right home and situation that worked for him. But now with Luminosity, it's been looking very well for him and the rest of his teammates, being able to really show it in the beginning of this game at least.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there, is finding the home. As ScaryD takes some extra poke from Benji, now level 5. The fact that Mask did try a couple of different teams and, in honesty, a couple of different personalities, right? He was with the boys on Denial, now known as Flashpoint, and that was that Drelo Benji type world where he tried to fit in there, and I don't think it was the right fit. Things just didn't work out, and his performance suffered. And then as soon as he joined LG, he seemed immediately more comfortable. And whatever you're doing, whether you're playing, whether you're working, even commentating, when you're comfortable, that's when you're at your best. And Mask right now has been very comfortable with these guys.
And don't forget, he was also on Team Envious in such number of personalities as Cyclone Spin. Even Omega was there at the time. I'm pretty sure Weekend was the substitute once he picked him up. And that was the idea and the mindset for Mask, just to figure out what worked for them. He was in a talented squad of Team Envious, but the synergy just wasn't there.
Yeah. And that was one of the big deals. ScaryD might get in trouble here as a beautiful play out of the Morrigan comes out to help BaRRaCCuDDa secure the kill. That's Benji right there. And Benji, one of the first players to really have a strong performance on the Morrigan last week. She's an extremely tough character to deal with just mechanically, working that ultimate at a quick spot, and then watching her be able to both use the Morrigan stun and then follow up by transforming into Mask's character. Batz allowed him to go ahead and get that kill. And that kill's also very important because it also sets the tone. Listen, you've camped me now, but I made a statement now.
Having the level 5 ultimate, it's going to be very important for ScaryD to think of the possibilities that Benji can throw at him.
Yep.
Now, BaRRaCCuDDa having his ultimate is also really good against the Vamana in general, taking away a lot of health and protections.
Left side, BaRRaCCuDDa's getting zoned out by eUnited's duo lane, not able to get the valuable golden experience. Is going to force the gank here by Luminosity. Mask shows up, I think, quicker than Pain anticipated. And so while he's in trouble, he's not dead quite yet. The dog is going to chase him down, and BaRRaCCuDDa gets the kill off of Calder.
Overhand smash was available just in case, but BaRRaCCuDDa's right around the corner. BaRRaCCuDDa doesn't really have much mana, and speed buff is on the side of BaRRaCCuDDa, but without that Nemesis ultimate, not wanting to pull the trigger quite yet, gonna walk away with a free kill there onto PainDeViande.
Which that was eUnited just not real. One, they don't have the vision. You can take a look at the left side of the map. No wards that are red are on that left side. Ultimate forced out, but it's gonna be for BaRRaCCuDDa. And actually has to run away with his tail between his legs. PandaCat gets jumped on, and so he's slowed for a little bit. Mask still on the chase. BaRRaCCuDDa and JeffHindla showing up, but not willing to go too deep into eUnited's jungle right there. eUnited have 1 kill, and they've shown some fancy stuff, but really nothing to bring home for it.
Nothing quite yet. And looking at the soul lane itemization real quick, this is a problem for a lot of warrior soul laners when they're dealing with the mages. They have to think about both the soul laner and the physical jungler here. So going for a more magical defense route on the side of against Benji, but not going to have the physical defense, which is not a bad thing considering Nemesis ultimate would have just stripped away those physical protections anyway. But normally you're trying to find the right hybrid build to survive both, and more often than not that option will be the wing blade.
Well, a lot of people have spoken poorly about hi-rez, which has been the go-to selection for that balance, right? I mean, it's literally both protections, but you got to find those stacks. Now, if you build it this early, we can see the Silver Talisman coming out, and honestly, I doubt we're going to see it finish into the Pestilence just yet. If we do see, why are some of the reasons that people are staying away from hi-rez?
Because of the time investment it takes. Now, the cost efficiency of hi-rez at 2,400 gold to get 35 protections on both is not worth it to start things off. But once you finish those stacks, it becomes one of the most cost-effective per gold spent on terms of the protections and health cost.
So it's just a matter of sort of anticipating. Well, ScaryD didn't anticipate that. Tons of damage, and that right there is the result of the Nemesis ult. 2-on-2, and the kill. Will it be coming down? Is a different story, actually. ScaryD, ringer on the mulberry bush, and it's not enough. There's the final hit out of BaRRaCCuDDa, but Mask takes out Pan on the other side. BaRRaCCuDDa secures his own life. thought he was going to die to the tower.
SkariD misses his knockup, which could have easily guaranteed his own safety, but either way, responding it back. PainDeViande taking another spill. Great poke out of Baskin, the new mid laner from Luminosity.
Gold Fury started, and the ultimate's coming out, and that's going to force the leash on Gold Fury as PandaCat drops to Suns. But as soon as PandaCat's ultimate's over, Baskin and Mask show up. BaRRaCCuDDa gets the last hit onto the enemy Hunter, and the pull's going to be off the mark from JeffHindla. Can't miss that ult, however. Baskin still here, letting him know. And Jeff gets one for himself, 7 in total for LG. And with the team fight win, they will take their reward of the Gold Fury. Lead now solidified by LG. 2,000 gold in the lead is Luminosity.
BaRRaCCuDDa has so much confidence in his teammates, holding on to that Gold Fury, even using the Aegis to be able to hold on to the aggro, waiting for the team fight to kind of disperse and get that first objective in the game. Now comfortably in the lead, it's by 3,500.
SkariD getting punished for what him and Mask did to Benji on the other side, and that's kind of the story of Mage Solo. Level 1, level 2, you can absolutely just ruin their Christmas. But once your character gets a couple of levels online, all of a sudden you got to worry about that mage in the solo lane. So Morrigan, and more importantly perhaps Virizial on the Nemesis, really punishing SkariD over here in the solo.
Nemesis is one of the greatest jungler assassins that you want to have to deal with almost any warrior, especially a Vamana, that you're going to strip away the protection, strip away the movement speed, and be able to really lock down that big baby.
So speaking of the big baby, he actually did opt to finish the Pestilence. Usually that Silver Talisman is the perfect sweet spot for gold investment versus return reward with effective health. And that's very mathy, but we'll just put it down to health and protections, right? That finished Pestilence is usually specifically looking for the healing reduction. Why does SkariD opt to go that far into the build?
He just wants to get that huge power spike because you get a big bonus of health. I think you go from 100 to 300 or so. But the left-hand side, BaRRaCCuDDa with a 2-level advantage, forcing out the ultimate out of PandaCat. Doesn't seem he's done quite yet. He wants to bully him past that tier 1 tower. And not only that, there is still going to be some sustain in the form of eUnited in terms of the meditation here from PainDeViande, so you want to take that option out, as well as just a natural sustain. Not only that, Bancroft's talent being picked up by Khaos, so taking away some lifesteal.
Fire Giant Jr. here, taken down by Luminosity Gaming at the exact 11-minute mark. I'll give him a little bit of farm as well, taking their 3K lead and up to about 4,000. Nice little play coming out here from Luminosity Gaming and eUnited. Actually, it's very interesting watching Luminosity play this well, because eUnited I thought was on a tear. They've been playing very well. And Virizial helping out his Hunter. That's the type of play that we've been accustomed to seeing eUnited, very teamwork-based play, which is why I love this matchup, because both of these teams are really full 5-man units.
Great pathing from Virizial. He basically avoided the ward up top by going underneath here. The vision from eUnited controls the left side mid harpy, so going through that left side mid harpy sentry ward underneath and then back around through the middle.
Benji in trouble one more time, and he's going to use his invisibility real quick. Nice heads-up play to switch the mid lane Thoth for the dash, but it's just not enough. He's able to be followed by Mask. I'd love to see that creativity out of Benji. That's one of the more exciting things about the Morrigan here, is going to watch how many options you actually go to instead of just, well, I'm Batz and that's what I'll stick to.
He definitely could have used his dash more defensively, but Khaos doesn't have his beats, gets pulled back in, uses the Kraken trying to survive, but final judgment, finding the kill in the mid laner.
PainDeViande, the only one here, now finally gets greeted by his jungler. More poke at a Baskin. And the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side goes down. All 4 players from Luminosity still in the chase. Mask throws the ball and gets him out. Wonderful play coming here from LG's jungler. 100% kill participation.
Baskin has just been doing a great job with these stuns off of the portal wall, extending the range of it, making it easier to confirm some of these long-distance targets, finding it onto Khaos in the mid lane, which forces his beats, find it again onto him later on in the soul lane, allows the pull from JeffHindla, catching the Poseidon out of position. He uses his panic cracking, realizing, well, like, hey, I'm going to die anyway. I'm just going to throw this one out here. Maybe my team will clean up. And on top of that, he also does enough damage onto PainDeViande after the tier 1 tower to be able to chase down a second kill.
So right there, you know, just looking at what the Thoth play coming out of Baskin, I think this is some of the more dynamic Thoth play that we've seen. We've seen a number of mid laners pick Thoth when he actually gets through to picks and bans, which has been more recent. Nice little play by BaRRaCCuDDa, thinking he gets the up and up on the enemy, but Baskin right behind him. Both players just playing sneaky. And what we're talking about Baskin here, a lot of the mid lane mages have been able to get off the damage and the poke, but Baskin has been a little bit more, I said dynamic before, let's go with creative, where he's using that window to find those dash stuns. He's being able to be more mobile and weave in and out instead of just being this heavy artillery turret in the back line like we've seen a lot of Thoth players bring out.
And considering he used to play in the solo lane and very aggressively in the solo lanes, for him to have the patience and the mindset to go from a guy that used to dive the back line to just waiting for his team to initiate is not very easy. So the discipline on Baskin has just been paying off so well for Luminosity as he's transitioned into this new lane and role.
Yeah, and so we've had a number of players transition in the mid lane from a variety of places, right? We saw Anderson come over, Matt Yankee came over from the left side of the map. I think Baskin has been the most successful change. How about you?
So far, absolutely. Considering Luminosity sits pretty at the second place in the North American standings. Not only that, you know, as a result of Baskin joining, Mask and Skadi have been stepping things up. Even before Baskin joined the team necessarily, just all positive things reinforced for Luminosity.
And you know, you said something very important around the first Gold Fury of the game. And you said that BaRRaCCuDDa with tremendous trust in his team. And I think that that's going to be the major thesis statement for Luminosity this season, is that there's so much more trust in the team as a whole. Right now, Luminosity going to have to trust their team to stop the Gold Fury attempt. And right there, Pain gets stunned, rooted. He's going to jump in. However, all 5 members here from eUnited, sans Benji. He's stuck on the right side, going to teleport over now. Khaos gets one. Skadi answers back. BaRRaCCuDDa gets another. It's 2 dead on the side of LG. Nice control on the PandaCat. Uses both relics while Benji, south side, picks up the support. But Mask continues his reign of terror, taking down PandaCat. Skadi versus the world with Mask in tow. Can eUnited take down the jungler, Toli? That's the question. Doesn't seem like it, but they definitely win the team fight 2-3.
The question is, what do the eUnited get afterwards? Gold Fury is up, but Skadi is here in tow to be able to stop this. Benji is thinking about trying to find some damage onto Skadi, but misses that ability. And eUnited, yes, they win 3 for 2, but they don't get anything in response. So they're still down about 4,000 gold heading into the 16-minute mark. These team fights heavily favoring Luminosity for the most part, except for that last one as the result of the skirmish earlier on in the left lane.
That's going to be a big, that fight is a really big deal, despite the fact that there's no reward after it, because that's the first fight that eUnited won. And now Mask getting a little ahead of it, or Skadi rather, getting a little ahead of himself. BaRRaCCuDDa can't quite catch up, so not going to be that big of a deal. But that one team fight, I think, eUnited really feeds off of stuff like that. And with the second Gold Fury attempt coming out from Luminosity, if eUnited defend this, PandaCat's got eyes on it, I think they can do well. Skadi
communicates that the BaRRaCCuDDa is still on the right-hand side. Final Judgment, finding Gold Fury, also clipping PandaCat in the process, just for good measure. Just like that, Luminosity, we're up 4,000, now about 5.5.
PainDeViande had the Intoxicate, and I would have liked to see, I know he died 30 seconds ago, but I'm always wanting to see that shot from the support, especially if you're Bacchus. Listen, if you're an Athena, I'm not telling you to jump into a Thoth and say maybe my shield wall takes it. But if you're a Bacchus, that's your wheelhouse. That's your gimmick. That's what you do.
Not able to find the steal, though, so PainDeViande electing to play more reserved here, looking for the team fight. Without that final judgment, that's a technical advantage for eUnited to be able to try to look for a little team fight play. Instead, not going to elect to go for a portal demon. They're looking to maybe bait out Luminosity to get out of position here and then catch somebody slipping.
Yeah, this is the trap. PainDeViande, ooh, belly flop a little bit premature. Gets grabbed up by JeffHindla, controlled by the Hunter, and just taken out by the jungler. Beautiful play by Luminosity there. Mask, credit for the kill. Right side, Jeff's very low, gets controlled a little bit by the Hunter one more time. Jump away from Panda. So the death onto JeffHindla will have to wait for now. eUnited 4-5, now retreat. Mask low, beautiful pickup, but the whirlpool out of Khaos a little slow. So Mask able to jump on out of there.
Not having the damage on the whirlpool quite yet means that the cripple effect doesn't apply, meaning Mask gets away into safety. eUnited securing themselves their own objective in the form of a portal demon, which is not as valuable as a Gold Fury, but it's still something small and marginal to cut the lead that Luminosity has built for themselves.
Absolutely. Very important small win from eUnited. They still trail by about 5,000, and, you know, looking at the kills as well, down 6 kills. But at the same time, eUnited, this was a really big play for them. Not only do they get the Portal Demon, but they get the Portal Demon 4-on-5, which has to help you out at least a little bit mentally. eUnited now have the map presence here on the right side, and if they get a pick onto Mask or Jeff, this can be dangerous for LG.
Not finding the route onto Benji, unfortunately, for JeffHindla. Just slightly not in range there. That could have definitely been a pull onto that mid-mage, or maybe at least force the Purification Beads, but either way, Luminosity, after deterring eUnited from the Fire Giants, they now group up in the mid lane. BaRRaCCuDDa has been able to push up the wave long enough to get this tier 1 tower.
Easy picking right there for Luminosity. 500 just in the pocket. No real conversation about it. Barrett's going to pick up the Oracles as well by his lonesome. So Luminosity here 19 minutes in have really controlled the pace of the game and controlled the game in general. Only one kill has not featured the likes of Mask, who started this game, continued it, and is still one of the biggest presences on the entire board.
That's why Luminosity elected to first pick this god for Mask, knowing how powerful he is with this. He has a great mechanical skill playing almost any god, but the way he's been playing this Batz is just godlike.
And like I said, due to the nature of the itemization, Batz has transferred as a character. I think that once upon a time, Batz was strictly the ultimate. You know, you might get lucky with a nice crit after an overhand smash, but he wasn't the true assassin. Like when you look at characters like Serket or Najah, characters that just blow you up. His job was more control oriented, but thanks to the change to Hydra's Lament and some of the other options that come alongside it, you can see some early penetration and a Heartseeker coming out. He can wallop you after he drops that totem, and that's what makes him so scary. So Mask, this used to be a utility pick, and now you first pick it and let him run the show.
Having an MP stat line with 8-0-4, but the question remains, like, how did he get to the point that he is? You know, you have to think back towards that first blood on the mid lane, having a very sneaky tactic, and that takes more than just a Batz at level 1 to orchestrate that kind of play. Everything had to align properly for Mask to find the first blood, and as a result of getting a little bit of an experience lead, starts rotating towards the soul lane, taking advantage of a mage without an escape.
And then takes advantage of the hunter. That has a little bit of escape, but it's too quick to use. BaRRaCCuDDa winds up with his 3rd kill of the game. And that right there, you know, going back to that first play, Skadi in trouble. Ooh. Rizio missed the unmissable ability.
It just it clipped the wall around the corner, so not able to curve around that one with the blade.
Listen, man, I'm trying to curve my man Virizial here, all right? I don't need your excuses. Right now, eUnited needs some excuses. They're giving up their tier 1 tower, which I think is the right play, but I like that eUnited was in position. They were in position, but Virizial gets pulled so out of position, and it's just bad news. Aegis tricked out. Nice little knockback from Khaos, and Pain's going to help out with the meditation.
Oh my goodness, Virizial just in a world of pain there, unfortunately. Tier 2 tower now being started. Benji taking a lot of damage, and Khaos, nowhere to go for him. This tier 2 tower just falls like that.
And Benji trying to do something. If Scary D is going to get jumped on, that's a nice little play, but I think the damage has been done. JeffHindla out of control. The pulls have been like lightning. Just absolutely nice stuff coming out of the support player from New York. Luminosity has really benefited from this team-style play that we saw from minute 1. Nice loop from Scary D and then teleport over to the solo lane. Strange stuff, but that's what allows them to be so strong. Luminosity, 22 minutes in, get the drive through Gold's Fury. That's going to tack some more onto their lead. Almost 10K here for the boys in blue above eUnited.
The thing that makes Luminosity such a powerful team is the fact that they don't give anything back to their opposition. Despite doing all that damage onto Virizial, forcing his beads and his Aegis, they didn't commit it to tower diving the tier 2. They elected to just get him out of position. They forced a meditate as well from PainDeViande. And on top of this, just doing some long-range artillery fire onto Khaos. The stun happened again from Baskin. He just got completely eliminated on the form of Khaos.
LG just seemed like a controlled team, and that's one of the big deals. Like I said, it's been all about trust with this roster. Last year, I think that there wasn't a lot of trust in their mid laner, and Scary D was basically a different player last year, and so there wasn't a lot of trust in that short lane either. Scary D gonna trust himself to get out of jail. Just pops the ultimate, and that works out. But as we see the move over here, right, ScaryD makes an interesting play in the mid lane, and Mask is able to get that. And the team trusts that ScaryD is going to get back there to his position and make everything work. And then they let Mask just take control of the game. That's not something that happens at the beginning at the Spring Split last year. This is not an LG play that you can see from the Spring Split last year. Got to be a big change, and that's the biggest change, is the trust in the teammates to do both teamwork and individual plays.
Luminosity securing themselves the Portal Demon, up more than 10,000 gold now at the almost 24-minute mark. Having this little portal should be giving them the opportunity to finish some of their 5th items to be able to start up this next and last objective on the side of the Fire Giant. And ScaryD has been getting focused primarily on the side of Luminosity, but it's all been working in favor of Luminosity anyway, because he's making the calls in terms of how many people are in his lane, and Luminosity exploit this by going for objectives.
ScaryD has to be the target because that's what eUnited has the composition built around with the Nemesis, but they're not finishing the deal, and so they're just winding up empty-handed. Mask pops the ultimate to really turn everybody around. PainDeViande very low, but he's the support. It's not that big a deal if he's in the back line. Benji trying to take out Baskin with the Batz transformation, but gets taken out anyway. PainDeViande might get his deal sealed by ScaryD, but instead, the target swap onto the jungler. vamana pops the shield, runs away, and the chase continues. Jumping on top, slows by bunch, and ScaryD picks up the kill off the assist from the jungler. Kraken, despite Mask's best efforts, still takes out the jungler, and Baskin winds up with his 3rd kill of the game. Chase on to PandaCat.
ScaryD is going to dash towards the Hunter. PandaCat nowhere to go as well. It's going to be 4 members dead here on the side of eUnited. Luminosity sacrificing their MVP here for 4 kills. It's going to grant them the perfect opportunity here to secure themselves as Fire Giant.
Listen, Mask's slashline, Mask's personal publicist might not be happy about that death right there, looking at a nice 0 in the death column, but that is exactly the type of team play that Mask and his teammates have really been down to do. I mean, Mask gives himself up so the other 4 members of the team who arguably use the Fire Giant buff better than the Batz are able to pick up the buff.
Now, granted, he wanted to find the kill onto vamana a lot, so I was going to say it was a little bit of a selfless play, giving himself up, but he wasn't giving himself up on purpose. He wanted to find more kills. He found vamana, but he didn't find the additional one. Khaos was doing a good job in the backline with PandaCat, keeping themselves alive for a long time out of eUnited, and this is getting to a very slippery slope on the side of the Khaos team here. They're down so much gold, and with the Fire Giant on Luminosity, the last 2 remaining tier 2 towers is also going to go down, and this is going to be close to a 17,000 gold lead after that's down.
Ooh, 17K. I mean, that's really when eUnited are talking about game 2 right now. Let's put it that way. And if you're in the eUnited comms, if you're Coach Pain, what are you telling to your team? What went wrong outside of Benji dying over there from Mask in the solo lane? Because I think that started the game, but I don't think that ended it.
I don't necessarily disagree with you there, Tom. I think that there's a lot of things that you can look at if you're eUnited here. Obviously, the first blood didn't help their case at all, which got Mask off to a brilliant start. So definitely need to start warding the beginning of the game in the mini-map. Probably even maybe look for that Oracle Chalice if you're PainDeViande, just to make sure you have safety in not only your mid lane, but in your other lanes as well, because you have to figure out where the opposition is starting and seeing if you can counteract that, because you might have a good 2v2 matchup in the beginning of the middle lane if you start rotating people around.
You know, it's not even just the beginning of the game. I think that lack of vision kind of hurt eUnited throughout the entirety of the game. There was that nice little, we mentioned it when vamana looped around, and that was due to the vision that eUnited had on the left side of the map, but it just seemed for that one moment we didn't really see a continued effort to make sure that the vision was there, and that's why we saw continuous deaths on the side of the Hunter. PandaCat is 1 and 4. Khaos has had a very uncharacteristically quiet game, 1 and 5, not really doing anything on the Poseidon, and I think that that has come to majorly a lack of vision.
I would agree with you, especially considering how on point Baskin was with his stuns through these portals, finding multiple hits onto Khaos. Not necessarily always killing him, but getting him in a position where he forces the beads, and now without that defensive relic for Khaos, he's just very easy target for Mask to dive in that backline alongside with Jeff.
So I want to bring this up because I said before how I almost always am telling the support to jump in there. That right there, Pain, you're totally fine. It's a drop in the bucket. You're down 20,000 almost. If you steal that Gold Fury, right?
It's not going to do anything.
No. The difference between 17,000, which is the lead right now, I think, and 15,000, there really isn't a difference. You're in a giant hole, and either way, it's just rough stuff. You really have to really plan for this defensive set. 2 frenzies, 1 on each side. Not popped just yet. PainDeViande jumps in and gets popped himself. JeffHindla trying to do what he can, and Khaos is cracking. Not on the money. Mask gets 1 as he takes down the mid laner. All 5 players alive for Luminosity. And as the Left Phoenix gets in trouble, Skadi doing his best zone. Left Phoenix down. Benji, half HP. Still standing here, ready to play some defense. Backs off. Mid lane Phoenix has been relinquished by eUnited. They do not want to defend here. They've got to make their defensive set on the right side of the map.
And looking at the difference between this set and the last one, Elevate was doing a good job winning the game, but couldn't really close out the way they wanted to. But this game, Luminosity is showing how to properly close out a game. Go for all 3 Phoenixes, not overextending, finding a very comfortable win here. Nice jump by Mask, preventing the double dash from Verizio.
10-1-8. Mr. eUnited absolutely picked up my unofficial MVP of game number 1. Almost a half hour on the clock, and Luminosity ran it from the first minute. The jungler came out and just went to work, took things down at minute 1, like I said, in that mid lane, thanks to an interesting strategy, transition over the soul lane, still winning, transition over to the side lane, still winning, Mask all over the place.
Definitely has some Tiger's blood in him, but some Monkey blood as well. More than likely, we could see eUnited ban away this option from Mask, doing such a great job with it, or maybe pick it for themselves. You know, with that kind of momentum, more than likely, if given the opportunity, Mask will play Batz again.